Hello, welcome to another episode of Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel. You bitch.
And I'm your co-host, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another week of Bloodhaus.
Everybody on Earth that's listening to this just turned it off. It's like whatever the opposite of ASMR is what you just did.
Well, I picked the right episode to do that.
How are you?
I'm okay. I've been a little run down, but I'm hydrating. I'm doing my best. And I am very firmly in the Christmas spirit at the moment. We'd already set our tree up and our decorations, but then we bought a bunch more and found a bunch more of our old and vintage decorations and ornaments. So, like, for the second week in a row, we're re-trimming the Christmas tree and adding more to it. And, like, I don't know how we continue to fit stuff on it. It's insane. And then we've been wrapping presents all week for friends and stuff like that. And getting an insane amount of like cookies baked in the oven, and literally I think I was baking cookies, so the house smelled like gingerbread and chocolate and stuff like that. And then Ivory was trimming the tree and I was wrapping presents, and we had the Muppet Family Christmas like TV special on, the one where like they meet the Fraggles and Sesame Street and stuff like that, and it was just magical. It was really, really, really beautiful. So like, she's really overworked right now. I'm a little run down and not feeling great, but like the end of the year cheer is here. I love it. It's deeply, deeply infectious. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really feeling the Christmas spirit this year. I don't know if I just like needed it because it's been such a dark time in the world, but I'm just like really leaning into coziness, and I feel actually pretty happy, and like I'm just really enjoying Christmas. Speaking of Sesame Street, did you see that HBO canceled it?
What? I did not.
HBO canceled Sesame Street, and it is now homeless. It does not have a studio and might be gone.
That's fucked. First of all, I thought it was insane that HBO took it to begin with. And then raised the production budget on it significantly. Yeah. And then is like, it's too expensive, we're canceling it. Yeah.
I hope the PBS Muppets can get it back.
The Muppets are currently like held up with Disney, but Disney doesn't want to do anything with them, so they're homeless. And also, they've got some weird voice actor doing Kermit right now that doesn't know how to do Kermit, and it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's all the Henson stuff is not in a good place. Which literally last night at the end of that special, it's like it's mainly the Muppets, but then the Sesame Street crew shows up, and then like they like run into some Fraggles, and like Doc is there, and all these people, and they're all like singing at the end, and then it cuts off to a corner of the house, and Jim Henson is there, and he's like, they all look so happy. I like when they're happy. I'm going to go over and do the dishes now. And it's just like, you son of a bitch. Go to the doctor.
The absolute hatred I feel toward Disney cannot be underlined enough. Like, if you enter the Mouse House, you're not coming out. That's what they do to people. They just hoard IP, and I hate them.
And talent. And they,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Barry Jenkins.
Have you watched anything cool?
Yeah, I know there's something that you were probably going to mention here in a second, so I'll let you do that. But I watched a movie for the first time this week from a director that I had never seen anything by before either, which is a little embarrassing considering I've met the man. The Canadian auteur Adam Egoyana. I had never seen anything. He came to my college like 10 years ago when he had a new film out at the Chicago International Film Festival, and like one of our professors knew him and was like brought him in unexpectedly day of. They canceled every class mid-class, brought us out, had everyone meet him, talk to him, hang out, and then he gave like a lecture on and like Q&A on filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it ended, they turned it over to an audience Q&A, and no hands went up.
Yikes.
And they started sussing out that no one there, even the other professors, knew who he was or had seen any of his movies. They literally, at one point, the moderator like was just like listing off movies and to a crowd of like 20-year-olds just shrugging their
Blank
shoulders.
stares. Yeah.
It was really uncomfortable. I felt really bad.
I don't know who
Anyway.
he is. I hate to say, I don't know who he is either.
He directed The Sweet Hereafter.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, Chloe.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I watched his big kind of 90s breakthrough movie, Exotica, this week. Josh, you're going to love this movie. It's
really
incredible. First of all, it's a big kind of, I don't want to say Altman-esque, but he kind of is the kind of go-to for kind of big mosaic cast dramatic stories. And it's a very specifically 90s and specifically Canadian, like, all-star cast of character actors. It's Sarah Polley, Elias Koteas, Bruce Greenwood, and Mia Kirshner.
Oh,
It's
wow.
all like those people.
Yeah.
Which is great. And it follows, it's vaguely centered around an exotic dance club called Exotica, where Mia Kirshner does a like schoolgirl act every night, and Elias Koteas plays the like club DJ who waxes poetically and is absolutely still in love with her despite the fact that they've recently broken up. And it's like run by this pregnant lesbian who may or may not be in a relationship with Mia Kirshner now. And Bruce Greenwood is a man who shows up every night for the like schoolgirl act because he has kind of a weird relationship with that dancer, and he is like mourning the death of his daughter at the hands of a violent crime. Meanwhile, there's also a gay man that trades in exotic wildlife and fish that has a weird relationship with this place and the opera. It's deeply moving. It's absolutely incredible, and the way that the narrative unfolds is beautiful and amazing. The score is wild. The song choices for the club are wild and very like Jim Jarmusch atonal and unexpected. It's got this real kind of like 90s cool aesthetic, and if it was an American movie from 94 with all of these elements going on, you could kind of assume where it would end up, and where it would end with some kind of corruption and violence, and we see that these people are far worse than we could possibly have imagined. But it's a Canadian movie. So that's not what happens. Not even a little. They kind of set you up for that to happen, and it doesn't, and it's far more emotionally impactful. I fucking loved it. I thought it was incredible. I really want to go watch like 17 more films from Adam McGuire.
Yeah.
I know The Sweet Hereafter and what's the other one? The Adjuster are on Criterion Channel. So I'll definitely need to go through those, but I flabbergasted, just blown away. I loved it.
I haven't thought of Mia Kirshner in a long while. I know her as Jenny from The L Word.
Oh, yes.
Where she's just like completely unhinged, like the most demented character who's ever been created for television. Who I love. I love the original L Word. It was one of the things that made me want to move to LA.
Yeah. I deeply love the original L Word. Its depiction of West Hollywood does not exist.
No, not at all. It's shot in Vancouver also.
Yeah. And that was my first exposure to Mia Kirshner, and also my first exposure to who's the other lead on it who plays Bet from Flashdance?
Oh, Jennifer Beals. Who's beautiful in the show.
Yeah. There's a lot of like big names. I mean, Pam Grier was also a main character on the original run. I also know Mia Kirshner as being the mean girl from Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh, I saw that on my 21st birthday and I've never seen it again, but I remember liking it.
It's really fun. There's one unfortunate racist bit that runs through it, but it's making fun of the
Uh-huh.
racist bits of John Hughes movies. But
Uh-huh.
it's great. She's also the Black Dahlia in Brian De Palma's The Black Dahlia.
I haven't seen that. Ooh, she's really good. She's very compelling, kind of in
She's
that way
really good.
that way that Juliette Lewis is compelling. She's always making the weirdest choices, and watching her feels a little bit dangerous because you don't know what she's gonna do.
Especially on the L Word.
Yeah.
It's so funny this might be a spoiler for people who haven't watched the L Word, and maybe I shouldn't go into this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The L Word ends with her dying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a murder mystery cliffhanger of like, who killed her? The L Word was then rebooted as like a sequel series decades later called the L Word Generation Q. I love it. I think it's better.
Wow.
I think it's incredible. It also was canceled and unfortunately ended in a really shitty way. Jimmy Clayton's on that series. It's incredible. They bring back all my favorite characters, and then the new ones are amazing. And there's a lot of mention of the other characters from the L Word that had died on the original run, and there's a lot of love paid to them. They never mention Mia Kirshner once.
Really? They never mentioned Jenny Schechter?
They never mentioned Jenny Schechter. Not the famed author and writer Jenny Schechter.
Remember the story?
Who moved there with her boyfriend and moved in next to lesbians.
By the way, her boyfriend was Eric Mabius, right? Wasn't it that guy from, oh God, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I don't remember.
It's like the hottest guy. I think it's Eric Mabius from Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Yes, it is the guy from Welcome to the Dollhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's so hot. The only man on the show very quickly is phased out, of course, because it's about lesbians, which is fair enough. But Jenny Schechter is the most demented, unhinged character ever. She writes a novel called Les Girls. This is before the show Girls also. That gets adapted to a big Hollywood movie, and she works her way up from being like just the writer of the movie to stealing the production from, she like destroys the director so that she can take over as director. She just becomes like an art monster gradually over the show's run until she's finally murdered because she's such a bitch that everybody hates her. She's like that show's Brenda Walsh from 90210, like the bitch of the show, the Alexis Carrington of the L Word. And she's great.
It's so insane that that's her arc, considering that like she's like the audience surrogate.
Yeah.
She's the straight girl audience surrogate when the show begins.
Yeah.
And the arc they put her on is so insane. The last thing I've seen her in was she showed up on Vampire Diaries.
Oh, really?
The main character's like estranged mom who, spoiler alert, was a vampire the whole time. And Mia Kirshner has like 2 scenes, and her second one, she burst into flames.
Listen, everyone's got to pay their bills. No shade.
She's incredible in Exotica. Like, if Exotica came out today and was like released by like A24 or something like that, she would have Oscar buzz. Like,
yeah,
she's an incredible actress, and the fact that she can swing from that to like almost 10 years later playing a teenager and Not Another Teen Movie and like doing it perfectly. She's incredible. I loved Exotica. I think you would deeply love it. It's a perfect winter kind of emotional heart tug watch. I think you'd be really, really moved by it. It's kind of I've been watching a lot of Northern Exposure lately, and it really complemented that.
Okay.
It don't just mean like in the cold, but there's like a kind of 90s ennui that like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think what you were implying is that I was going to talk about Black Christmas, the original from 1974, which we saw at the theater together yesterday with some friends.
Yes.
Perfect, brilliant slasher movie. Maybe flawless my favorite slasher movie.
Yeah.
Brilliant characterization, brilliant direction. Everything about that movie is brilliant and perfect. And if you haven't seen it, you really should. It actually wasn't what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about a different Christmas slasher that I wanted to come clean about, because this is a movie that as a child of the 80s I grew up with. It's a VHS classic. It's a movie that people love, and I'm going to shit on it. And I I watched it last year for the first time in a long time, and I was made to watch it again this year, and I just want to be honest about it. And I'm talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, I
And
know you don't like this one.
it sucks. It's a bad movie. And I'm sorry. I'm coming for this movie's throat right now. It is not campy enough to be fun. It is boring. It has a terrible protagonist, a killer who I know is hot, but is like utterly charmless and talentless. It opens with a graphic rape, which is like, it's really hard to feel like a movie is fun and campy if it has a lot of sexual assault in it. For me personally, I'm not like some, moralist who thinks that movies can't have sexual assault in them. But I'm like, if you're trying to make a fun movie, maybe avoid rape. I just think it's not fun. I think it's boring. I think it's bad, and I don't like it, and I'm never watching it again. I'm putting my foot down.
I feel like I've known this take from you. I feel like I've been aware of this from you for some time, and I avoided Silent Night, Deadly Night for a long time because I mostly just knew the second movie and the meme,
which is unwatchable.
Yeah.
The second movie has 20 minutes of original footage. It's mostly
from the
just
first
footage
movie.
From the first movie. Yeah.
And then I just knew that like the first movie had a big fandom because the lead is a hot guy and a lot of gay men just are into him, and that's it.
He's very hot.
And I know a lot of people love it, and I know you are strongly anti. And so I avoided it for quite a while. I watched it for the first time last year around Christmas with Ivory and our friend Ethan, and we loved it. I loved it. I had a great time. I thought it was super fun. Sorry.
I don't think it's fun. I think it's boring.
I don't know.
I just don't like it.
It worked for me. It worked for me real hard. I'm excited to watch it again this year. See how I feel about it on a second viewing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what it was going to be doing. And I was pleasantly surprised, and I found it like gross and deviant and weird and fucked up in a fun way for that kind of movie.
Yeah.
I will say it pales in comparison in every way imaginable to the superior 80s Christmas Santa slasher movie, Christmas Evil.
Of course. Goes without saying. I love Christmas Evil. Christmas
Evil, which I've heard people describe as like the Taxi Driver Christmas slasher, I think is better than Taxi Driver. Christmas Evil works so well because it does have that sleaze factor. It does have that like insanity and kind of like one man, God's lonely man kind of thing. But it has a weird wholesomeness at the core of all of this evil and like disgustingness that like pulls it through the whole movie and makes a lot of the end work and makes the like disgusting, gross, evil stuff hit harder. When all the kids surround Santa to save him, and when they have the lineup of Santas, and there's like a murder outside of a church, and his sleigh is just like a creeper van. It's magic to me. I love it.
Yeah,
that's the Christmas. That's the Christmas horror movie for me. Black Christmas is like a perfect art film.
Black Christmas I watch every year. I might need a break from it because I've seen it so much, but I love it. I think it's a 5-star perfect movie. And someone who was with us yesterday that I didn't know, it's just like a friend of a friend, was saying to somebody else that I didn't know, another friend of a friend who hadn't seen the movie, like, oh, it's really fun. It's really like cheesy. And I was like, no, it's not. It's like,
who said that? I didn't hear that. Oh my God.
It was before you arrived. I was like, this is not a cheesy movie. It's perfect and it's terrifying. The movie genuinely terrifies me.
It's also not fun.
It's not.
There's funny moments interspersed in because Bob Clark knows how to work with tension, and it's very intentionally played where like one person is being comedic and the rest of the room is like bleak and suffering, and that's on purpose. Someone else after the screening that I didn't know very well was also just like, and we never find out who the killer is. That's
Yeah.
wild. And I was like, yup. Like, it's been 50 years. Have they never made a sequel? Do we never find out? It's like, yep. You're not supposed to.
It's such a good movie. The other thing that I just wanted to quickly plug, this is not a political podcast, but we don't make a secret that we are both leftists, and that's just who we are. And in light of the Luigi Mangione murder of CEO Brian Thompson,
Alleged.
Thank you. I should say alleged. In his note, he called out the documentarian Michael Moore. And so Michael Moore wrote this really wonderful response. And he has made his Oscar-winning documentary Sicko free for everyone on YouTube. It's really good. It won 14 Oscars. It is nonpartisan.
Sicko's incredible.
Incredible movie. And it just is. It's so worth your time, especially now that it's free. It's really nonpartisan. I mean, one of the enlightening things about this murder is how nonpartisan the reaction is. I mean, the media is trying to make it like one thing, and they're flopping so hard because everyone across the political spectrum is on the same page about this. I've never seen such a stark difference between the way the media covers a story and the way regular everyday Americans
respond
talk about
to it. Yeah.
It's so different. So yeah, I just want to encourage everyone to go to YouTube and watch Sicko. It's really worth your time.
I saw Sicko almost immediately after it came out onto home video and onto cable and stuff like that. Michael Moore, especially in the mid 2000s, had such a dirty connotation attached to his name. And it was in like the Bush era and the Iraq war. He was seen as like the pinko lefty fucking worst man in the world in the Midwest. He like, renting a Michael Moore movie at Blockbuster would get you fucking dirty looks. Like, they didn't screen. They like, the theaters were empty. But I was interested in them because of that. But also, like, even like non-exclusively right-wing things were dunking on Michael Moore. Like, Family Guy and Arrested Development were all dunking on Michael Moore, and like that was just like the vibe.
There's huge swaths of like sort of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party who don't like Michael Moore. And here's the thing. They don't like him because he's impolite and he's overweight and he's from the Midwest. And I think in light of this, not to turn this into like a political podcast, but in light of this election, we need to have a talk about how so much of the dialogue of the progressive left has become classist. It is classist. The dislike of him from progressives is classist. It's because he doesn't talk the way that they want him to talk. He's overweight. He's not fashionable. He's from the Midwest. And so the dislike of him is like entirely classist when it's coming from our side of the aisle.
Sicko was the first movie from him that I saw, and it was like on cable, and I was like, I hear people shitting on him all the time. This sounds interesting. I'm going to watch it. It blew my mind. I was pretty young at the time, and it really opened my eyes a lot to the horror of our country. And I've never forgotten it. It remains my favorite and the most impactful of all his works. Bowling for Columbine's really good, but like Sicko's the one for me. And it really did a lot to put me on a very, very, very good path. So I highly, highly, highly recommend the movie. I'm glad that he's taken involvement. That makes me really happy.
He was name checked, so he kind of had to say something, I guess.
But also, I'm not surprised. It's hard to walk out of Sicko and not feel like you need to do something.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, Ben Shapiro, crazy right-winger, was talking about Luigi Mangione and talking about how disgusting it is that people are idolizing him and blah, blah, blah. And his own right-wing viewers en masse were like, no, man, you're wrong about this. This is not a left-wing thing. We all feel this way. So it's really across the political aisle.
It's really revealing the strings of power that both like political parties are trying to take the same line on this, and actual people of the parties are taking the
Yeah.
opposite same line on this.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring. It's almost as if it comes down to class.
Almost as if it comes down to class. Interesting. It's almost as if there's no war but class war. Anyway,
this is our most controversial episode ever.
Yeah, and it will continue to be, because this is a movie that we've been putting off since the inception of our podcast, because we knew from before we even recorded our first episode that this is a movie I deeply love and a movie that Drusilla deeply hates. This is a movie from 2013. It is directed by Jonathan Glazer. It is Under the Skin.
So you live alone?
Yes.
You think I'm pretty?
I like a gorgeous.
Come to me.
I saw this movie at Brooklyn Academy of Music when it came out with my ex-husband. I thought it was really beautiful and hypnotic. My husband was like, "What's that movie about?" afterwards. And I was like, "She's an alien." And he's like, "Oh, that makes more sense." He didn't even get that. Like, he was like, "She's an alien? That makes a lot of sense." And I was intrigued by it. So I then read the novel, which is entirely different. And I think actually, Drusilla, you would really like the novel.
I did a lot of research into the novel this week, and I really want to read it.
It's totally different tonally. The movie is a very, very loose adaptation of the novel.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Glazer developed the movie for like 10 years. And I think original drafts were like direct adaptations of the novel. And he felt after he got a few versions of that he needed to move further and further and further away from the novel. At various points, it was like a big budget sci-fi with lots of special effects, and it just kind of got stripped down and stripped down and stripped down until it became what it is. Yeah, I mean, my highlights for why I love this movie, I think Scarlett Johansson is amazing in it. I think it looks beautiful. I think the tone is really cool. It really frightens me or upsets me at various points. I think the score is really incredible and special. And rewatching it, I loved it even more. I just think it's like such a stripped down, spare movie, which I know is not something that you always like as much as I do. But those are my headlines. What are yours?
So I saw this probably in 2014, after it kind of like proliferated out, and so there was. I've been rereading a lot of friends and critics reviews. And friends who are critics reviews of this movie, and a lot of them are talking about how like there was a lot of controversy when it played at TIFF originally, and a lot of people didn't like it, and then very slowly it started gaining supporters and groundswell and stuff like that. That wasn't my experience of it. I was like in film school at the time, and like the first word about this movie was, "Oh my god!" The first word was everyone was loving it. Every bit of the trailer had everyone so excited. Everyone who had seen it was raving about it. It was huge in like the art house circuit. It was one of the first major A24 films. It was like, oh my god, Scarlett Johansson's doing an art house movie. Oh my god, Jonathan Glazer's back directing. It'd been years since Birth and Sexy Beast. Which also I need to say before I go into all this, I love Sexy Beast so much.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jonathan Glazer's films so much. I need to get that out of the way. And when I finally saw the movie, I wasn't into it. I wasn't into it for the majority of the movie, and then I really hated the ending. And so I was like, oh, cool. No. And I'd had experiences like that a lot around that time with notably like Tree of Life and other films at that time, which, you know, the language of cinema and art house cinema was kind of shifting at that time. And like, there was a lot more of the like dialogue free, I don't want to use the word experimental, but it kind of experimental.
I think you could barely call this experimental.
There's a lot of nods to like Godfrey Reggio and like his Qatsi trilogy in this movie. But like there's a lot of other movies that were kind of working the same vein at that time that just leave me cold and don't affect me in any way, shape, or form. And if that aggravate me. So I was just like, all right, it's one of those. I just chalk it onto the pile of those. Understood. Whatever. And we're 10 years out from that now. My tastes have changed. I've grown a whole lot. My like diet of movies has changed significantly. I watch like everything. And we've had so many more takes on this kind of narrative in the past 10 years. In similar methods as well, and I'm going to bring up one of those in a minute that we've covered on the show actually, that's I think very similar and more effective than this. And I rewatching it now, I think I like it. I appreciate it more in terms of its craft because the sound design is incredible.
Sound design and all of Jonathan Glazer's work is just like next level good.
That's like his jam. And the cinematography, 70% of the time is incredible. And I know that's partially intentional. However, it still doesn't work for me. I still find it cold, detached, meandering, and not frustrating in that it's inaccessible and I'm not getting something, but just frustrating in that I get it. I know what we're doing here.
Right.
I hear what you're saying. I get it. Why are we still driving? Like, I get it. Understood. And then the ending still aggravates me. The ending is still very annoying to me. Yeah. I would like to read the novel. I would like to have that more of a connection to it. I haven't seen any of Jonathan Glazer's subsequent films because I've disliked this one so much. And yeah, it's very polarizing. Every review I can find is either 5 stars or 2 stars. You either deeply love this movie, deeply hate this movie. And I found a lot of, well, no, not a lot. I found one trans critic who claims that this is a universally beloved trans movie by every trans individual, and that this is like one of the major trans texts of like the 2010s filmmaking. And I'm like, I can't find another trans person that's made this claim. So that's a bold assertion. I do know like 1 or 2 other trans women that love this movie.
Yeah, I can see
also
a trans
film
interpretation of this movie. I can see this movie through a trans lens. I understand that, but I never would think of it as like the text for trans women.
Yeah, this essay that I read was like the way that trans women have all reclaimed this and made. I'm like, I've not heard a single person say that.
Yeah.
And as a trans woman, I wildly disagree.
Well, it's interesting. Jonathan Glazer has said that he doesn't want this movie to be viewed through the lens of gender at all, that he thinks of it as more of a human story. But, and that doesn't sort of matter because the movie is, it's in the hands of the audience once it leaves a director. But, and I think it's like impossible to view this without thinking about gender.
I think it's incredibly impossible to view this movie without thinking about the gender because there is a lot of gender performance in the beginning of this movie. The way that the narrative structure of this movie works is directly based around gender, and also the way that Jonathan Glazer's camera functions throughout the majority of this movie is straight back to the classic Brian De Palma Hitchcock of like, if I'm following someone around for 2 hours, like it's got to be a pretty woman. Like,
yeah, and
which
it's all about.
I found that statement from him a little gross and a little disingenuous. Sorry.
Oh, the statement that I mentioned.
Yeah, that he said. Yeah, that's a little disingenuous considering how he made this movie. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, directors can very easily and very often think that they're making one thing, but actually be making another thing. It's. I think Emerald Fennell is like a really great. I think she, in both of her movies, thinks that she's doing one thing, but is actually doing another. And I like
John
one
Cameron
of her movies.
Mitchell, I think, also falls into that line.
I think it's a totally easy thing to do, and sometimes that's fine, and sometimes it's not. But synopsis wise, I guess it's a very spare story. But Scarlett Johansson plays an unnamed woman who never says this, but she is an alien, and she drives around the Scottish countryside in a white van and lures men into some sort of liminal space where they are absorbed for purposes we never know. And she is completely without empathy. And eventually she meets a disfigured man who starts her down a path of like becoming more human and starting to empathize with people, which ultimately leads to her destruction. And meanwhile, she also seems to have these like caretakers / minders who are men on motorcycles who follow her around and kind of clean up after her, but also make sure that she's kept in tow and doesn't wander off. And that's kind of it. I mean, there's not much there in terms of story.
Yeah. I will say the standout performance in this movie is from Adam Pearson as the man that kind of like cracks, and her empathy. And I honestly am shocked at how long following this movie it took him to get more acting work. He's incredible. He's an activist in his own right. He's a very, very sweet human being. And he has done 2 films for Aaron Schimberg as a lead, Chained for Life and A Different Man, that are incredible. A Different Man just came out this year. It's also released by A24. And it's amazing. He's such a talented actor. He brings so much to the roles he's given. And no matter what you put him in, and no matter like who he would be, like he's an incredibly fucking talented actor.
Yeah.
And the idea that it took him 10 years to get more acting roles after this is shocking. And now when he's in things, they're like, oh, From Under the Skin, and I'm like, when Under the Skin came out, no one fucking talked about him.
Yeah, he also does a lot of TV presenting in the UK too, so it's not like this is his only work. But it's not that surprising to me. He has tumors all over his face, and so not to be unkind about it, but that like limits his range. You can't just if you cast somebody who has a disfigurement, you're making a really big choice, and whether you want it to or not. His disfigurement has entered the chat. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. It's the same with like somebody who is really, really overweight or I don't know or fat, I guess is the politically correct term. Whenever you have a point of difference about your body or your appearance, it changes the conversation.
It just bums me out because I see people like Gabrielle Sidibe who like are incredible actresses, will get like one major role, and then Hollywood doesn't know what to do with them, and then they're signed to a contract with Ryan Murphy where they do like 2 seasons of a TV show and they never work again. But like way back when in like the 40s and 50s and stuff, and granted there was a lot of fucking racism going on. There's a lot of people that were being gate kept out of the studio, but like more often than not, very, very talented character actors, especially in the 70s too, very, very talented character actors who had something different to bring to the screen were working constantly and were able to find smaller roles in innumerable films. And people wanted to cast more interesting people that brought a difference to the screen and that had that talent. And now it's just hot people.
Yeah.
You go watch a movie, you watch hot people.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, but I can also see it from the other point of view where like, okay, I'm casting Succession for HBO. If I cast Adam Pearson as one of the Roy sons, then I have to cast Adam Pearson, and that means writing towards his disfigurement for 5 seasons. And you know what I mean? Like it's a big choice, and it comes with with implications and tasks, and you have to be thoughtful about it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all I mean.
Oh, I'm glad that Aaron Schimberg is doing that and is making great films out of that as well.
A lot of the reviews on Letterboxd talked about Adam Pearson, and there seems to be a contingent of people who feel like his presence in this movie is unkind, which I understand. I don't agree with. And I did some research and watched some interviews with Adam Pearson, who really likes the scene that he's in and likes the movie because he points out that it's meeting his character that sort of spurs this growth of empathy within Scarlett Johansson's character. Mm-hmm. And I also feel like you're kind of telling on yourself. It's like, you think that him being in this movie is cruel because you're judging his disfigurement. You know what I mean? Like, he's an adult. He got paid. He's an actor.
Yeah.
He likes the scene. And so it feels like a little bit patronizing to me, that point of view.
Agreed. I think it's great casting. I think he's one of the best parts of the movie. I don't think it's cruel in any way, shape, or form. The movie's not cruel to him.
The movie's cruel in many ways, but not in that particular way. It's actually one of the only moments of kindness in the entire movie.
Which is then met with cruelty, but like...
Yes, but not at her hands.
No.
So it's sort of surprising that it wasn't a bigger deal that Scarlett Johansson got naked so often in this movie. She was a huge star then, as she is now. And I think it's because, some people have talked about how this movie is sexy. I think it's sort of the opposite of sexy. If a movie could be anti-sex, yeah. This movie, I think, kind of hates sex.
Yeah, I've seen people talk about this movie and talk about how this movie is very relatable because it is very sexy, which I find deeply surprising. And I also know a lot of other people that relate to this movie because it's like nearly asexual and seems to be averse to sexual encounters. I don't fucking know. I all I know is that for like 4 years after this movie came out, a lot of people dressed up as Scarlett Johansson in this movie for Halloween as a sexy costume, and I was like, no.
Well, I mean, she looks sexy. It's just like not a sexy movie. What do you think about Scarlett Johansson's performance in this? I know you're not the biggest ScarJo fan.
Yeah, I don't care about Avengers movies. I think she's good in Ghost World.
I love Ghost World.
I miss her in the early days. She's also in Blue Dahlia.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's like the lead in Blue. She and Josh Hartnett are the leads of Blue Dahlia. Wow. And you know what? She's great in that movie. This episode brought to you in part by Brian De Palma's The Blue Dahlia from 2005. You probably haven't seen it. Go see it.
She's also brilliant in Asteroid City. I thought I was like floored by
yes, that. I think Asteroid City is very underrated. I think a lot of people slept on it. Ivory didn't really love it when we saw it in theaters. I really, really, really loved it. And I think she's one of the best things in it. I think she's amazing. And I think Adrian Brody is the other amazing thing in it. I don't love her performance in this movie. I think her accent is bad.
Mm-hmm.
For when she speaks, and she speaks less as the film goes on. And it's a really hard role to play because there's not a lot on the page, but there's also a lot on the page, so a lot relies on a very subtle balance of giving nothing and giving everything. Yeah. And her performance is the one thing that pulls you through this movie. and that you're supposed to connect to, and like that is your through line, and it doesn't work for me. I think it's I think she fails the required task of being a compelling lead in this movie. I think she's just there to look pretty,
Mm-hmm.
at which she succeeds at, but I don't think her performance evolves past that even a little bit. And I think her accent is god awful. I think there's a million other British and Irish actresses that could have done this immensely better. And I think I'm just gonna bring it up already. You're Never Alone, the movie that we watched earlier this year.
You Won't Be Alone.
You Won't Be Alone. Tackles a very similar concept and theme as this movie in a similar
Beautiful
visual
movie.
language, infinitely better. And I kept thinking about that while watching the movie, being like, yeah, that worked so much better for me. Why did that work better for me than this? And I think it's down to the performance.
Well, I also think the movie is, you're right about the style of those two movies, but I think the point of view of You Won't Be Alone is very different, because both of these are movies about humanity, and You Won't Be Alone is a movie that really loves people and ultimately has to say about the experience of being alive. It's worth it. All of the pain is worth it because it's so beautiful to be alive. This movie says kind of the opposite. This movie is extremely cynical, because as the alien becomes more and more human, she becomes more and more vulnerable, and it's ultimately her undoing. So in a way, and I don't think that this is the intention, and I don't think that, I mean, in a way, the movie kind of advocates for sociopathy in a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, because she's stronger when she can't feel anything. I don't think that's the intention, and I don't think that that's the meaning of the movie, but it is literally true. Like, her character becomes more human and thus becomes more vulnerable, and that's what is her undoing.
Yeah, I also, I don't know. I think that's the other part of this movie that really falls short for me, is that it takes half of the movie to get to the point of she starts to reckon with humanity. It takes half of the fucking runtime to get there. So that both then leaves you with a very repetitive, monotonous first half, and then the actual growth of the character is super rushed in the back half. And she has very limited experiences before she is finally raped and set on fire. So she has like one short encounter with a man of like going on hikes with him and watching weird TV and trying to eat cake and being uncomfortable at sexual encounter, and then runs off to the woods to be alone, and then is raped and murdered. Like, there's not remotely enough emotional or character growth in there to justify a narrative for me or any empathy with this character. It's so detached that and it's shot in such a detached way the whole movie that all I can feel is, yeah, okay.
I think that detachment is the point for the first half of the movie, right? Like, you are sitting in her lack of empathy. There's a really incredible scene, in my opinion, when she's at the beach and she witnesses a drowning, basically, and the drowning victim's like small toddlers on the beach just screaming and left alone, and she just leaves it there. And when her like minders come back many, many hours later, the kid is still sitting there screaming on the beach with dirt all over his face, and they take the kid away and presumably kill it. But that is like a really, really upsetting scene. So for her to go from that to like having any empathy at all is quite a journey. And I take your point about how the switch happens too late in the movie. For me, it works. That's the midpoint of the movie, roughly, is when she starts down that journey. But I really feel for her in the second half of the movie. You mentioned the scene where she kind of falls into a relationship with a man. It's actually the first sexual encounter in the movie because she doesn't have sex with the men that are her victims. She like kind of lures them and then they drown and then dissolve in whatever that black liquid is. But so it's the first time she's, you know, penetrated by a man, and we don't see what's going on down there, but she's alarmed by it and sits up and like uses a lamp to kind of examine herself down there and is really disturbed by it and runs away. So like that's her first sexual experience, which is doesn't go well. So I don't know. I really sympathize for her. And then she's in the forest and she's frightened and there's a man stalking her. So like, you know, the tables have turned on her, and I don't know, just the whole thing works for me.
Yeah. The first time I saw this movie, I don't know if this is how I feel now, but the first time I saw this movie, when she goes into the forest and she's kind of being stalked by the forest ranger, I was very much like, oh yeah, tables have turned. Now she's the one being like pursued, and stalked. And then she's like pretty violently sexually assaulted. And then it stops because her skin is peeling off.
Yeah.
And then there's a bit of a moment of catharsis as she proceeds with that. And then the guy runs back, douses her in gasoline, and lights her on fire. Which the kind of like, we're kind of like changing perspectives now. And it felt like a really kind of, I don't know, sadistic move on the part of the film to be like, yeah, and this is what you've been doing this whole time, you fucking bitch. Which, like, that's how I felt the first time I watched it. And then now this time that I watched it, it still just left me cold of like, yeah, okay, she starts down the path of like discovering humanity and relating to human beings. And her first slightly negative encounter leads to loneliness, rape, and death. Just instantly. And it's like, after this entire slow movie, it's really annoying and aggravating and really cynical. And again, like, he can say what he wants to say about gender, but it speaks to a concept of womanhood that I dislike strongly. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just don't agree. I feel like certainly the movie is cynical. I think, you know, she goes down this path to becoming more human, and that's her undoing because her humanity makes her more fragile. Now, what that says about feminism, I'm not sure. I don't think like the view of the first half of this as feminist because she's killing men is particularly like a progressive point of view. Do you know what I mean? But pop feminism in our culture has led to that kind of thing.
I know a lot of people love this movie for that, of like, yeah, girly, like, good for her.
Girl boss. She's a sociopath who kills men and leaves babies on beaches. What a girl boss.
Slay queen.
So I don't think that's a particularly progressive feminist point of view, but I also empathize with the criticism that, like, you know, as she becomes more human, she becomes more fragile and is then immediately becomes a victim of sexual assault. I get that, but also women are more vulnerable to physical assault than men are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel complicated about that.
I don't know. It just feels lazy. It feels uninspired, and it just feels, I don't know. It doesn't feel interesting. It doesn't feel like it's saying anything. It just feels like, okay, well, and then this would happen.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say anything about her character, and we've had so little of her internal journey at this point that it doesn't. I don't feel like I've learned anything about this person. I don't feel like she's had many experiences in this world. I don't feel like she has much at all.
Well, she hasn't. She's brand new. I mean, I think my interpretation of the movie opens with those minders pulling a woman's body out of like the side of the road. And my interpretation is like that was the person before Scarlett Johansson. So they're just like replacing that woman with Scarlett Johansson. So in my interpretation, she is like literally brand new.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the movie is so vague about all of the alien stuff that it's hard
even
to
the
say.
person they pull out of the ditch like is crying when the clothes are pulled off her, so she's presumably still alive at that point. She's just paralyzed.
Dying. I assume that she's been victimized by a sexual assault of some sort. That's my assumption.
Based on the clothing and like the runs and the stocking and stuff like that, it's kind of and like being left in a ditch like that. It has that read to it. I don't know. It's a very cold, cynical movie with a very cold, cynical view of the world that I find emotionally impenetrable. And I don't think I want to penetrate that. Like, I don't know.
I get it.
I
hear that.
This, maybe I shouldn't go down this tangent, but like, there's like a meme out there that's something along the lines of like, all my friends love 100 Gex. I went to the concert. It turns out I don't have that brand of autism or whatever. And I'm watching Under the Skin. I'm like, yeah, this doesn't do it for me. I know a lot of people who like that's their brand and that's their vibe and that's their thing. And like this movie clearly does a lot for them. I feel like I'm watching a different movie. I feel like everything that I read that people say about this movie, I cannot find in an inch of this movie. I feel like I'm scouring it with a fucking microscope to find a shred of the emotion that people talk about when they talk about this movie, and it's not there. I think it's such a blank slate of a movie that it invites people to project upon it, and that's what people get out of it.
Spare. Yeah.
And that does nothing for me.
What about the score by Mika Levi? Do you like that?
The score's great. The score is very good, and the cinematography is very good. Mika Levy's score is like, it's great. But that's not enough to hang your hat on. I don't know. Like,
a lot of people apparently have seen, they do screenings of this where Mika Levi plays the score live, which would be really cool.
That's sick. Yeah. I know they've done some scores like Pablo Larraín movies. And stuff since, which I also haven't seen. Sorry, I'm trying to see what else Levy's done. I definitely know a bunch more of their stuff. Actually, I haven't seen anything else that Mika Levy's done the score to. They've done stuff for Zola, Jackie, the Small
Marjorie
Axe
Prime.
films.
Marjorie Prime, I saw the play, but I never saw the film.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful play.
Michael Amareda. Yeah. Yeah, I never saw Monos. And I have yet to see Glazer's short film The Fall or Zone of Interest, which I've heard Zone of Interest compared a lot to Under the Skin in terms of its narrative presentation.
And yeah, it might not be for you.
Yeah, it's probably not for me.
I would be really interested in you to read the novel because it's so different. In fact, it's a comedy. It's like a dark satire. And the gender stuff is really interesting because in the book, isn't it in the book? It's like that, like
her human body is a process of surgery. Like,
yeah. So the aliens don't look anything like. First of all, it's much more of a story that's like linear. There's nothing vague about it really compared to the movie. Like you're in her point of view, so you know about her home world, you know what the aliens are doing, all that sort of stuff. But she's had all these surgeries to try to make her look human, but they're not very convincing. And so she's really short. She's like 4 feet tall. She has giant rock hard breasts to try to make her look sexy. She basically looks like a big titty ET in a fright wig with giant glasses because she's practically blind on Earth. And so she disgusts people everywhere she goes, but she thinks that she's really sexy. And even though she disgusts people, men still want to fuck her because they're animals, right? Do you know what I mean? So it's like a really
That's more interesting. That's more
really
interesting. And again, that gets to my like frustration with Jonathan Glazer's claim of like it's not about gender, it could be anyone. Or I'm like, no, you specifically cast Scarlett Johansson and then like do her up in like iconic red lipstick and like the big black wig and the fur coat. Like you're doing everything you can to make her to like draw parallels with like Marilyn Monroe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like you're doing everything you can to make her be seen as like the sex in that, and you're structuring your movie around just shots of her face. 80% of this movie are close-up shots on her face, just blank staring to the point that it's the poster. Like it's like a POV from the car dash cam, like of her face.
In my point of view, there's a lot happening behind her eyes in this movie, and she's doing a lot with silence. The performance works. I just want to be on record saying that I think the performance is very good, and I don't agree with you.
To me,
but I hear you.
To me, she sits there and doesn't blink for 90 minutes, and that's it.
The other thing I wanted to say about the novel that's different is that the victims are locked in cages, right? And fattened up their meat for her home planet. The human meat is a delicacy on her home planet, which is a barren wasteland.
That's interesting. That's like
interesting. Yeah.
I feel like I've also heard people compare the movie a lot to Nicholas Roeg's The Man Who Fell to Earth, which is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, love. And they are comparative. They're good comps.
Yeah, there is a narrative comparison there. And there is a like detached alien vagueness to Man Who Fell to Earth that works for me, and that makes me like want to know more about Thomas Jerome Newton, and like makes me like really like lock in more with his character and find him deeply, deeply tragic in a way that I don't with ScarJo in this. And I feel like maybe the novel might have more similarities with that movie and that movie's novel, the Walter Tevis novel from like the early 70s.
I've read that novel too, and it's the tone of it is it's a very sad novel and very short. But
I read it years ago,
and it's beautiful, really beautiful book.
I know they readapted it recently as like a mini series at Showtime or something, and no one watched it.
There's also a really cool stage musical of it. It's a loose adaptation, but the music was written by David Bowie before he died. It's called Lazarus. My friend
cool.
Bobby was in it. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's amazing. Bowie also wrote a score for that movie, and they never used it.
Yeah.
They threw it out. And the score to that movie is, if you haven't seen it, is very Southern. It's very like slide guitars and like because a lot of the movies set in like Arizona,
which is actually another difference because the author is from Appalachia, like I am. Mm-hmm. So in the book, the alien lands in Appalachia, which is like much different than, it's such a specific place. Yeah,
I think it's a shame not to go there, but of course, like Nicholas Roeg having made stuff like Walkabout, I can understand why he would choose there instead, but I think it's a mistake. But I just remember when Bowie died, people were trying to cash in left and right, and they re-released the soundtrack to The Man Who Fell to Earth on vinyl and put his face all over the cover, and people were buying it left. I'm like, that's not what you think it's going to sound like.
Yeah.
You're going to be very disappointed in the $45 double LP vinyl you just bought if you're not a fan of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, the Man who fell to Earth is similarly cynical about humans, though, right? Like his character comes to this planet to save his home world and ends up
An
dying
alcoholic.
blind and alcoholic, presumably his home world dying. So,
Yeah. Well, he survives. He lives and lets his homeworld die in the
oh, is that
movie.
right? I just remember that he becomes like a terrible alcoholic and and is blinded and is like undergoing horrible government experiments.
That yeah. He less so in the government experience in the movie by the end. He literally just ends it like sad, drunk, and alone. Um, and it's very much an allegory for American capitalism and like the like bootstraps mentality.
Hmm.
I a- Again, a movie that uses a sci-fi premise and like first impressions of Earth, like vague to a degree, and rather experimental approach and storyline, but says a lot in its 2.5 hour runtime. That especially in comparison to Under the Skin and its 100 minutes of, for me, nothing.
Hmm. Well, this has been less contentious than it could have been, so I appreciate that. Um, let's
Listen,
move.
it's a pretty movie with a great soundtrack, and nothing at the core of it. So I
You know
get it.
what? Do you know what this is? Even though I love it, it would be a great put on in the background of a party and
Yeah.
play Outcast over it or whatever, or Chromatics or something. You know what I mean? Depending on the kind of party and your group of friends.
Or I would say just leave the Mika Levy score and recut it so it's just the gorgeous cinematography of the Mika Levy score, and recut it into some, and like cut a lot of the Scarlett Johansson out and some of the other stuff, and so it's like even more experimental and has more of an emotional impact. I feel like you could recut this movie and make it better.
You could cut Man Who Fell to Earth and this together and just like have it on in the background of your sci-fi themed party.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Awesome.
Let's play Have They Seen It, the game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. David Bowie. Do you think David Bowie saw this? He was alive.
He died, what, 2 years after this
2017.
movie? Yeah, 2 or 3.
So
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, I think he probably definitely saw this.
What do you think he thought compared to Man Who Fell to Earth?
I think he would have liked this movie.
I do too.
Based on the critical consensus of this movie, I think he would have liked this movie. I think
How
he
do
definitely
we-
would have loved the score.
Yeah, he would have. Do you think that, I don't know if how he felt about Man Who Fell to Earth.
Oh, he loved
Do
it.
you know? Did he? Okay.
He was I know for a fact he was a really, 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 really big fan, and so he was it was maybe that and Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, his Oshima movie, that he was like the
Mhm.
most proud of in terms of his acting. And when Man Who Fell to Earth was released in America in the 70s by Cinema 5, it was cut. They cut like 20 minutes out of it or something. And I read an interview with William Becker, the former head of the Criterion Collection, talking
Mhm.
about how when they started out in the 80s and stuff like that, and when they started to gain prominence on Laserdisc, and they're like, when did you know that the work that you were doing had a cultural impact? And he was like, when David Bowie called me and like begged us to release Man Who Fell to Earth because
Yeah.
American audiences hadn't seen the extended version and he really wanted it to get out there. And he like
Yeah.
volunteered to do a commentary track for it, which is still, I mean, their DVD of it's out of print now, unfortunately, but like it's on there and it's great. And he's very, very passionate about that movie. He was very,
Such
very,
a
very
beautiful
proud of it.
movie. I love
Such
it.
a beautiful movie. One of Buck Henry's best performance as a gay man with Coke bottle glasses.
Absolutely. No question.
Love it. Yeah, I think Bowie really would have dug. And Jonathan Glazer was a music video director. I don't know if he ever directed any Bowie stuff.
I don't think he did.
Which is a shame because I feel like he directed a lot of the like late 90s like Britpop kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Especially knowing what I know from Sexy Beast. Also with that title, a very anti-sexual movie.
Yeah, and Birth.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Birth. Birth can be
That's
seen
true.
as
It
a
is
very
little
sexy
horny
movie.
in a very subversive way.
Birth and Happiness double feature.
Oh, God.
Okay, so as we know, Scarlett Johansson's a really, 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 really big star. And she, this movie was made at kind of the peak of her stardom. It was like a year or two after that first Avengers movie came out. She was like, everywhere in the world. Do you think that, the guru of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kevin Feige, has seen Under the Skin?
I don't really know much about him. And in fact, this is kind of a brag, but it's super snobby and shitty of me. I've never seen a single Marvel movie unless you count Howard the Duck, which you shouldn't. So I don't really know the first thing about him. I hear his name on like Hollywood movie business podcasts, and like that's the extent that I know about him. I want to say no, but
Yeah.
maybe he's cooler and smarter than I give him credit for as someone who loathes Marvel and comic book movies.
Yeah, I can't imagine he would have seen it. I feel like the only way he would have seen it is to be like, well, what's Scarlett doing?
Yeah.
Put up a reel of what she's been up to.
Yeah.
But I can also see him just like hearing about it and seeing the trailer and being like, psh, we're making real movies.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like somebody who's like surprisingly sophisticated based on his actual output, which a lot of people are, or if he's somebody. I just thought of like I think it was when Jojo Rabbit was nominated for a bunch of Oscars, Taika Waititi, which, boy, if anyone has fallen in estimation as quickly as Taika Waititi has. But I remember at that time saying the problem with like Oscar nominated movies and the reason people were watching the Oscars less and less and less is that the kind of movies that got nominated for awards were like homework quote movies, like it's like asking kids to eat their vegetables. And I thought at the time, it's like, well, we're not kids. And if you're a grown up, you're supposed to like vegetables because your taste has gotten more sophisticated. Like, I don't have a lot of empathy for people who are grown ups who only want to watch kids movies, or there's a lot of grown-ups who only read YA books or whatever. And it's like, I don't have a lot of time for that. And so
same.
That's just a big rant to say, like, is Kevin Feige one of those people, or is he like a normal person who watches a broad swath of different kinds of movies? I don't know.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he probably doesn't. I feel like if you asked him to name 3 Jacques Rivette movies, he probably wouldn't be able to.
Right.
Someone sent me a clip recently of the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, in which someone's like, what's your favorite like police movie? And one of the characters like, I like art house movies. So my favorite cop movie is Francois Truffaut's Breathless. And I was like, they said that like genuinely, and I was like, I want to shoot myself. That's wrong in so many ways. First of all, not a cop movie.
It's about
second of all,
robbers.
Not made by Truffaut.
Right.
Jesus Christ. So, I do think there are a lot of people in Hollywood that they like what they like, and that's what they want to make, and that's what they want to work on, and that's what they know, and they know enough of buzzwords about other things, but that's it. But there's also plenty of people that like deeply love like cinema as an art form in every like facet of it, and they work in their niche genres and things, and they will like go to work every day to make some dumb action movie or sitcom or something like that, and then come home every night and watch Ozu and stuff like that. And that's like,
totally,
you can do both.
That's like Mel Brooks, right? Who made comedy movies his whole career, but has like incredibly rich, diverse, sophisticated taste. There's a lot of people like that in Hollywood.
Roger Corman, of course, who like years of exploitation king, and his favorite filmmakers are like Antonioni and Bergman and Jacques Demy. Like,
John Waters, another one who like loves art house movies. I would say the one carve out possibility is that this is technically a sci-fi movie, and so are superhero movies really. So like maybe he's somebody who just sees like all sci-fi movies across the spectrum, the way that you and I are for horror. You know, we'll see the trashy big blockbuster and we'll see like the artiest, weirdest little thing because we love horror so much. It could be like that.
Could be like that. I could see that.
But probably not.
But probably not.
Yeah. So Scarlett Johansson is married to somebody that I really dislike, Colin Jost of Saturday Night Live. But I think she married him after this. I don't know. I don't know the timeline of the relationship, and I'm not going to Google it. I don't have the time. Do you think that Colin Jost has seen Under the Skin? It feels preposterous that they would sit down and watch this movie together in like the Hamptons.
Yeah, I don't think this is the kind of movie that she rewatches. Yeah, I'm gonna say he has seen this. He probably saw this. I mean, this came out pretty close to the movie Her, and she was on SNL to promote Her. I think that's around the time that they met and stuff like that. Yeah. He's definitely seen it. I think he's a big fan of it.
You think he likes this?
I think this is his favorite Scarlett Johansson movie.
Whoa!
I think he's super proud of his wife.
With a feather. Well, he should be. I mean, this is a man who is like punching way above his league.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how lucky is Colin Jost? I'm not heterosexual, and I can recognize that she's like an incredibly hot person, much hotter than he is.
Milquetoast white dudes are doing it this decade. I don't know.
Well, I mean, with all these, this incel culture, to just be a normal man who doesn't hate women, you're probably drowning in pussy because, like the competition is so terrible.
Yeah, the bar's in hell. So
yeah.
Oh my god. So again, the other big sci-fi film she did like a year after this, around the same time, was the movie Her, directed by Spike Jonze. And Spike Jonze is someone that really kind of like walks the line between art house absurdity and like out and out like like bottom of the barrel humor a lot of the time. And I love that whole spectrum, and I love him on that whole spectrum in every way, shape, and form. And one of his collaborators that I love the most, who I was just watching in something recently, I'm not certain would have seen Under the Skin or not, and I'm really interested. Do you think that frequent Spike Jonze collaborator and the star and creator of Jackass, Johnny Knoxville, has seen Under the Skin?
Yes, I do actually. Immediately my gut said yes, and I think that he would like it. I think he's somebody who is more sophisticated than a lot of people would probably give him credit for.
Oh, he famously is. He famously is. Yeah.
He's a really smart guy.
He's a really smart guy. I think maybe like a year ago or something like that, I was at Amoeba in like the new location in Hollywood, and it's like a single aisle back, this new location. I don't love it, but and I was there with my girlfriend, and we were walking further back to get to like the film department, and there's constantly a stream of people coming the opposite way, like going up to the register away from you, and like a silver-haired guy in a plaid shirt started walking up towards me, and I like did a double take and then kind of like jostled back and kind of pointed at him, and then he looked at me and like gave me a thumbs up and kept walking, and I was like, oh cool, that was Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah,
he's so he's gotten so hot with age. Like he was always so hot, but he's gone gray in like the best possible way. Deeply love the man, and he's also best friends with John Waters. Like,
I know, I love Dirty Shame. Chris
I love
Isaacs
a Dirty Shame.
And him are so
hot. Well, and every time I've seen John Waters do like his like live stand-up specials and stuff like that, multiple times he's like given out condoms at the end of it with Johnny Knoxville's like picture on them, and he's like, Johnny gives these to me every year, and I don't know what the fuck to do with them, so I'm just gonna give them to you guys.
I think Spike Jonze would not like this movie, for the record. I don't think
really.
he would like. Yeah, I don't think he would like it. I think it's just like too slow and boring for him. But
Spike
I have
Jonze
a bonus.
made Where the Wild Things Are.
That's true.
I think
have a
Spike Jonze would dig this. I know he and Jonathan Glazer like came up in the music video scene together. Like,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think they're buds, and I think he would dig this. I actually
All
think
right.
Johnny Knoxville wouldn't like this. I feel like Johnny Knoxville went to go see this like at a film festival with John Waters, and John Waters walked out of it raving, and Knoxville was like, I don't see it, but sure.
Yeah.
But I do
have
think
a
Spike
bonus
Jonze would
one.
love it.
But I don't know why I thought of this when you mentioned Spike Jonze. Do you think Lars von Trier has seen this? And do you think he would like it?
Oh, speaking of someone I also have very conflicted opinions about.
Me too.
Someone who I love a lot of movies from, and
Love or
really,
hate, no in between.
really hate other ones. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. He hasn't seen this.
Okay.
I don't think he can be fucked to watch a contemporary movie.
Oh, you think he's like David Lynch and he only watches old movies?
I think he. I know he's been like the head of like some major film festivals in Europe and stuff like that, and so I'm sure he does for that. But I feel like if Lars von Trier has a day off, he's not like, what's the new A24 movie for me to go see at the cinema?
Right.
I think he's writing, or he's reading, or he's like watching Bergman films. I don't think, or like, you know, old Danish movies, or like Casablanca and stuff like that. I don't think he's trekking out to go be like, what's A24 putting out? I think like a year ago or something like that. Do you remember that video that he kind of like posted to his Facebook page? That was him being like, I'm sick, I'm ill, I'm single, I'm looking for a girlfriend.
Yeah. It's such a weirdo.
God bless whoever takes him up on that offer. It won't go well.
I don't know. I don't know if I date him as much as I love some of his work.
I really love some of his movies. Yeah, Dogville is great. I think Europa is great. I think Breaking the Waves is great. I think I hate Antichrist, and I'm afraid that we might have to do it to the show eventually.
I know it's in our opening credits, and I've never seen it. Is the truth. But I was just meaning, like, if you're a woman who's seen Dogville, would you then go out on a date with Lars von Trier?
No. If you're a woman who's seen Antichrist, would you go on? No, like,
or Dancer in the Dark, or Breaking the Waves, or any number of Lars von Trier projects for that matter. Sorry, do you have something else to say?
No, the less we say on Lars von Trier is probably the better.
Okay.
Though I will say, I think Antichrist is slightly more suited to our show than Under the Skin, because I think Antichrist is more of a horror movie than Under the Skin is. I don't think Under the Skin qualifies as a horror movie.
It's a sci-fi movie, I guess.
It's a sci-fi movie. It's a genre movie. It's an art house genre mashup, so I'll allow it, but cutting it thin.
I mean, we cut it thin all the time. You know what I mean?
We do cut it thin all the time, including next week.
Yeah, including next week. So let's get to it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bloodhaus. Please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at bloodhousepod. Drusilla, shout out your socials.
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. A whole bunch of work up over there. Go check it out. I did a new book cover recently for a republished collection of classic thriller and ghost stories from like Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft and Shirley Clark and stuff like that, called Great Tales of Horror and Suspense. It's a really just classic compendium of incredible horror short stories, and it's out now. You can just go to a bookstore and buy it, and it would make a lovely Christmas gift for the literati goth in your life. And you can follow me on Letterboxd if you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline on there, and you can see all the Christmas and Canadian movies I've been watching lately. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Sister Hyde. What about you, Josh? How can people lure you into their vans?
I'm at Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And I also just bought your China Melville designed covered book for my brother-in-law. Not because you designed it, but because it was on his list. He asked for it.
China Melville's an incredible writer. And I'm always given like treatments and like a little bit of the manuscripts for books if I work on them. And they're always like, just read like, a couple pages. Let us know what you think. And on that one, they were like, this one's dense. This one's tough. It's like a really hard read. I don't know. And I couldn't put it down. I was addicted to it. It reminded me so much of all of the best speculative fiction sci-fi that I had read way back when. But also like reminded me of Burroughs a lot. In a way that I really, really love. It shifts and moves and changes and morphs a lot in a way that is just addicting, and I couldn't stop reading. I loved it so much. Highly, highly recommend that. Thanks for shouting that out.
You're welcome. Next week is our holiday episode.
Woo!
What snowy... Oh, that's Edie. Can you hear Edie in the mic? That's so cute.
She wants you to be done so bad.
I know. She has to go to the vet because she has a toothache.
Oh, baby.
What are we watching next week for the holidays?
Next week, we are ringing in the Yuletide and jingling those bells as we watch another movie about female loneliness and ennui.
Best way to spend Christmas.
That pushes the limits of what is declared a horror movie. But this is from Horror Making Masters. This is a legacy sequel, a direct sequel even, to a movie that we've already covered on the show. And it is an old school, heartwarming Christmas classic from RKO and Val Lewton. We will be watching the beloved and life-affirming and only kind of scary Curse of the Cat People.
Can't wait. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Bye.